Who's excited for the NBA NFC Championship?
NBA.
I'm thinking about the Bucks. Nick kept telling me how good they were doing. Then I watched and paid attention to the last two damn games, and they lost.
And they stink.
Lost two in a row, including to the stupid Lake Show. Like,
I have one request for this show tonight, because I listened back to our last show.
Yes.
And somebody called a certain team the Bucks 17,000 times, and that somebody was you, brother. They're not the Bucks. The Bucks are in Milwaukee, and they play in the NBA.
Okay.
These are the Buccaneers, the Succaneers. Got
Succaneers.
it? So you can call them the Succaneers. You can call them the Sucks.
Can I
you can call them the Buccaneers. But you cannot call them the Bucks anymore, because I am sick of it. Just like Ray Allen, when he first was a Buck and he went someplace and he met somebody and they were like, "Who are you?" And I'm Ray Allen. I play for the Bucks. And they're like, "Oh, what position do you play? You're pretty tall. Are you like a tight end or a wide receiver?" And he was like, "What? I play for the Bucks, the NBA basketball team." And the person he met didn't know that there was a basketball team called the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA.
Wrong. That's wrong.
That's wrong. So from now on, it's Buccaneers or Tampa Bay Buccaneers or Succaneers or any type of combination of that. No more Bucks. Got it? That is a basketball team.
All right, fair enough. I'll try to refresh.
And I know it's longer. It's easier to just say the Bucks, but no, Buccaneers.
I like Succaneers. I think that's good.
I was gonna use an F. I was gonna use an F in the front. Is that allowable? And
I thought about that too, but
after 9, what the hey?
Maybe not.
It's not a word. It's not a word.
It's not a word.
Do the whole thing. I'm gonna say it right now. It'll come natural to me. Should I do it? It's not really a word. Can we get in trouble for that?
Just don't stop. Well, no, come on. Pat McAfee can do whatever he says that stuff all the time. And our favorite quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, swears on Pat McAfee too, so it's okay.
I like this shirt this week.
Tampa Bay.
You know what's really scary is Aaron Rodgers is slowly showing that he likes more things that I like, and it's starting to make me not like him more, and I don't want to, because I decided I didn't want to like him anymore. So it's making me mad. He said he's a huge Star Wars fan.
Yep.
He's wearing shirts from frickin' Tombstone, which I know he loves Sam Elliott, but I mean, I'm a big Val Kilmer guy, as Jason knows. I don't know if anybody else knows, but I'm a huge Val Kilmer guy. So,
yep.
And he had a Val Kilmer shirt on.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah. Well, sure. He was the say when part, which is at the end, I think, right before he kills him.
Rick's in the house. Eckes is in the house. How's it going?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to give you this real quick. This is my beer for tonight. I found this one. This is hopefully a good omen. It's from Titletown Brewing.
Green 19, nice.
Green 19.
Wow.
Green 19.
That is nice.
Green 19. Let's go. Green 19. I want to hear a lot of Green 19 on Sunday. And Bruce wants to hear a lot of Old Man Brady's bones crunching.
Oh, yeah.
Crunching. Bruce, tell us.
That into the snow, just crushing them into that snow. Crushing them in there.
You know, I mean, obviously people are all like, oh, they're from Tampa Bay, but everybody's like, Tom Brady knows how to play in the cold. Well, yeah, he played in New England forever and ever. So, yeah, of course he does. So I'm not, it's not like he's going to be that affected. However, when you get old, the cold bothers you a little bit more. So maybe he's finally at that age. I can't remember what age I first started really being more bothered by the cold, but he's not much younger than I am, so it's got to be around this time. At least that's my hope for Tom Brady.
Well, and there are 51 other players besides Tom Brady that haven't played.
That's true.
So let's talk about that. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into playing it. And you know what? Tom's been 10 months or so. He's been in Tampa. Hey, you don't get used to the cold. It goes away real quick, and you come back, and then all of a sudden, whoa, this is not what I thought it was going to be. This wasn't the way it was in New England. You're right, because it's Green Bay, baby.
Bruce,
I'm trying to get excited.
No, yeah. Look, I want to be excited. I'm scared. but I'm excited. Is Bernard scared yet? I haven't looked
He's
at the
not
comments.
scared. All he said so far is "What's up?" and "I hate Skip." So
Well, Skip's an idiot. Who cares?
Hey, can I just say that I am only the one that when I was, I
Oh,
believe
he said something else too.
when I was on with you, Jason,
Yep.
I think I got the dislike, the one dislike that you guys got.
Were
That's
you
what I said.
Yeah.
Were you the person?
I don't think it was you. I think it was lack of me, Bruce. That's not your fault.
That's what it was.
People need the entertainment. That's me. Okay. I don't always make sense. I'm kind of a jerk. I mean, a matter of fact, we should probably get into something that people are going to be mad at me about. I mean,
no, why? Stop trying to make people mad at you all the time.
I'm going to make them mad because this is the thing that bothers me about the world. Okay. And I'm sorry. I'm going to start now. I apologize to all the fans.
Just wait.
Of a certain person.
One second.
No, I'm going to start it off.
Okay.
Because all of a sudden.
Yes.
All of a sudden. Everywhere you look in the last couple of days, all you hear is how much everybody loves Ted Thompson and loved Ted Thompson and how much Ted Thompson meant to the team and how much blah, blah, blah. And all those same reporters at the end of Ted Thompson's freaking career were ripping the crap out of him over and over and over and over and over again. And now every one of them is just, oh, he's the great. I'm like, listen, I understand that a man that was very important to the team died. And it was a tragic event. We watched him mentally kind of deteriorate in front of our eyes. But when he was doing that mental deterioration and we all watched it, a lot of those reporters were ripping him and saying, why is he there? And a lot of fans were doing that too. So it's kind of ridiculous for me, I think, for all these reporters to all of a sudden be all, oh, he was so great and all the great things he did and blah, blah, blah. And all that kind of stuff when they were just ripping the crap out of him to get him out of town before. And all fans too. I, for one, will say this. I think it sucks. I think my wife has had her father or her grandpa had really bad Alzheimer's disease. And she had to watch him kind of just deteriorate and forget all the people around him and all that kind of stuff right before her eyes. And I know Ted Thompson's disease or whatever he had was a little different, but and it was right when we started dating, actually, way back when that was happening. And it really, I mean, it hurts. It hurts everyone around that person almost way, way worse than it hurts the person that's going through it because they don't know what's going on. But everybody else is like dying for them to remember one thing or see one thing or whatever it is or be a part of their life. And they're no longer even in their old life. And that's the part that's the scariest and the saddest. So it's a sad thing. But I just think it's a bunch of crap when a lot of these people were just ripping the crap out of them for all this time. And they have to respect it and they have to do that. And I understand. But it's just kind of ridiculous because a lot of those reporters were just ripping them. And I've never been like, I rip Ted Thompson all the time. And I think it sucks that he died. But I'll tell you right now, his first round picks were terrible. He was a great guy. Mm-hmm. He was a nice guy. I'll say another thing about him. A lot of the guys that he drafted and a lot of the players he brought in, all great, awesome dudes. You know what I mean? But sometimes he drafted like crap. Let's just be honest about it. But him as a man, great guy. The people he brought in, awesome dudes. So, I mean, R.I.P. Ted Thompson, great guy, but crappy at drafting first-round picks, unless it was Aaron Rodgers who kind of just fell to him. Because the rest of them, I could list almost everybody, really. There's hardly any that were any good, to be quite honest. So, now, second-round wide receivers, you can find those guys. But so anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest because a lot of these reporters, the last couple of days, and I'm sure some of them are legit. Don't get me wrong, but they also are just, when they ripped the crap out of the guy for the last 2-3 years he was in the job, and now all of a sudden they're trying to be all like nice and stuff, and it's like, do you really give a crap? I mean, some of them did. Like Jason Wilde's thing I watched he actually seemed like it really mattered to him, like it really did bug him. But some of these other guys just say stuff, and then you're like, okay, well, whatever. You don't even believe that crap, so. All right, I'm done. I'll shut up now. I'll probably piss some people off. Don't care.
No, I think what you say is fair. I mean, look, Thompson was a successful GM. in large part because he, had the cojones to draft Aaron Rodgers when he did. I mean, let's be honest, right? So you got to give him credit for that. Did he whiff on a bunch of other first round picks? Yeah. But as we remember when we went in like the off season or whatever, went through a number of Packers first round selections and or other Packer drafts. There've been lots of bad drafting by the Packers before Ted Thompson, after Ted Thompson, and so on. So, however, it does suck. R.I.P. Ted, and I think it is a little hypocritical of those reporters and some of them and media people that do that stuff. At the same time, you want to pay respects to a guy who did give a lot to the Packers. And, the other thing you can say about him, he was very loyal. He tried to resign a bunch of his guys that he drafted. He tried to, he stuck with McCarthy all that time. So he's a good dude, loyal guy, did well with the Packers, did well by the Packers. And we'll always thank him for drafting Aaron Rodgers so we could have all these years of goodness here. Yeah, this was the text I get from Mom. So Mom sent me 2 texts this week, right? One on Wednesday, Phillip Rivers is retiring. So then I was like, old man Rivers. And then today she said, Ted Thompson died, period. Hank Aaron died, period. That's my mom. That's the 2 texts this week I got from my mom. That's it. So it also sucks about Hank Aaron too. So, geez. Rest in peace, Hank. If you don't know this about Hank Aaron, real quick, we'll give you a quick thing because Bruce was there, Ben was there, I was there. We've all been to Carson Park in Eau Claire, and that's where Hank played some minor league baseball way back in the day. As a 19-year-old kid, he played games at Carson Park in Eau Claire. So if you ever go up to Eau Claire, Wisconsin, you've never been there before, go to Carson Park, check it out. There's a little statue of Hank out in front of the stadium too. It's pretty damn cool. So that's also pretty sweet. Bernard did swear. He says, Tom Brady. And immediately after that, Mom said, I do too, Bernard. And I think she meant that she hates Skip. I don't think she echoed the Tom Brady part.
Well, who knows? Tom Brady's good looking. Maybe Mom's feeling frisky.
Then Bernard's worried about Rodgers. Rodgers don't play well in NFC championship games. That scares him. True. So Bernard's scared about that now. True. All right. Well, let's think about.
They only beat the Bears because DJ Raji did the classic defensive tackle drop back zone coverage that they tried to do with Lancaster last week.
Okay, let's also talk about the other 3 that he lost and how many points our defense gave up. Come on. I mean, we could argue this all day long.
I mean, the collapse in 14 was ridiculous. Come on. They were doing well. They were doing fine. And then McCarthy's started to get ultra conservative, take his foot off the gas.
And the special teams lost it ultimately anyway.
And all the dumb things happened. I don't want to think about that one again. 16, their team was no good. Aaron Ripkowski was their main running back in that game, and he had a big fumble early in the game that really screwed stuff up. They were closing in on scoring, and then all of a sudden all the wheels came off. But here's the difference. That was also in 16 a very fast defense for Atlanta that was playing, which again, we talk about fast physical defenses concern us a little bit still when they play the Packers. But the neutralizer is thanks to Eckes. Since the gift of Eckes got the Packers home field advantage, and actually with the number 2 seed, they would add home field advantage to Eckes, but that's neither here nor there in terms of playing the 5 seed. But it does mean that those fast guys will not be as fast on this surface. So hopefully the field neutralizes the speed of Devon White, some of these other fast dudes, and it helps the Packers be kind of at about the same speed. It allows a lot of those guys and handle them better, which I think will be the case. And then, like the guys that try to run too fast, they'll fall on their face. And I like seeing that too.
Are you drinking beer or hosting this show?
I just hosted the show.
You got to turn it over to somebody and then take a drink. How long have you been doing this show? What kind of host are you? You take a drink after you send it to somebody else. You can't just go and talk and then we have dead air.
Oh,
do I have to show you stuff?
Browner says the defense watched the tape of the NFC Championship from last year this week to remind them that they need to fix that.
Ooh,
so let's go. Did Darius also go back and watch his interview that Ben showed last week to remind him to be ready to play? Come on.
That was Tuesday. By the way, Mike Tirico brought that up this week. And he said, I don't think he can do it. He's like, how do you not get up for the NFC Championship game? And then he picked Tampa Bay.
I'm going to disagree with that. And the reason why is because his son's birthday was today. Smith is. And
could be Smith's. I don't know.
All I want for my birthday is a win.
Wow.
He's going to be pumped up now.
I hope so.
Because you got to take care of it for yourself. Come on. I mean, he's going to play well because of that right there.
You know what I hope they do with them? I hope they put Preston on one side and Gary on the other side.
Yep.
And then send Z up the middle. He likes to run at the quarterback. Can you imagine Z just set him straight up the middle every time? Have him lined up at middle linebacker. Don't even play a middle linebacker. Those guys all stink anyways. Just play Zadarius Smith and have him rush straight up the gut every single play and see what Tom Brady does about that. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see.
That's not a bad plan. That's Z's shortest path to the quarterback. So
right. I want 6 defensive backs. Kenny Clark, Snacks, and then Preston and Gary on the outsides and Z up the gut. And then all the defensive backs just play zone and behind them so that if Tom Brady tries to get the ball quick, they just pick it off and go. Every play.
Actually, they did that in week 6 a little bit. They had Z Smith running up the middle, and he got some pressure up the middle. It actually worked at times. So that's actually, I have that down as one of the things to talk about. So
let's talk.
There you go.
Let's get it going.
Hold on. We got another bad update from Mom. Jeez Louise, Mom. Do you only bring bad news? Kiki's out. King might be out for the game, which maybe isn't bad. But I had the whole matchup planned already. Him on Mike Evans all day long.
Maybe that's why they signed Tramon Williams as well, because they knew King.
Yeah!
That's a good point.
That is awesome.
As long as he doesn't get COVID before Sunday.
Yeah, that would suck. Hey, shout out to the Ravens for being cool, by the way. They didn't have to cut him. No, seriously. I mean, he must have went to him and said, hey, I got to in with the pack. They want me back because their corners can't cover anybody. Can you cut me so I can go back and try to go for the championship? And the Ravens were like, yeah, I will do it for you, Tramon. What the crap? Because they didn't have to cut him. It made no sense to cut him. But they did. And the Packers could scoop him up then. That's pretty awesome for Tramon. That's pretty awesome that the Ravens did that. It's kind of cheap, actually. It reminds me of like if you got fantasy football and like you trade, your best players. If you have 2 teams and you trade some of your players to your good team and all your bad players to the other bad team. I don't know who would ever do such a thing to try to win a championship, but I could see that happening too.
Look at your face. How you can say that with a straight face. All right. Jeez, the weed. All right. Well, Tramon, I forgot about that. I forgot. So much stuff has happened. And then Mom only sends me the bad news that I forgot Tramon signed. So that's good. We don't know what's going on with Kiki. Lee's wondering what's up with Kiki. I know it's not
really bad concussion.
I know. That's not cool. We need him. He would be so good in this game. So vital. Inside pressure, like an inside pass rusher in this game would be so good. Anyway, so maybe they got to manufacture it. Maybe Z's got to be in there, like you said. Hopefully we get to that. All right. I think we're caught up pretty much for the most part. All right, Bruce, let's get into it. You had been calling for this matchup for the whole time before the playoffs even started. You said you wanted Tampa Bay and Brady. Why?
Well, first of all, I wanted Brady because Rodgers needs to beat Brady and cement a little bit of his legacy here and go to the Super Bowl and win it, because we all know Rodgers the GOAT, even though they talk about Brady being the GOAT. Okay, and the only reason is because of Super Bowl titles. We're not going to make this about that, but that is one of the reasons why, obviously, I wanted to see Brady. But the other reason, and I have actually numerous reasons. The that I am going to talk about right now. And number one, this is the first thing I'm going to start with. So first of all, I'm going to talk about Brady himself a little bit, how he's performed in the playoffs. Number two, I'm going to talk about how they played against New Orleans and in what their offense did against them. Number three, I'm going to talk about Packers and New Orleans and comparing the two of them and the teams. And then number four, I'm going to talk about the game back in week 6 because I watched the tape. Okay, and I'm gonna talk about all the differences that are right now compared to them. So, and you guys can chime in anytime you want. So, so first of all, did you know? And I did post this when you guys were on Tuesday, but did you know that Brady is only completing 58% of his passes this playoff? Were you aware of that?
I know it wasn't good. I know like most of the way through the game against the Saints, he was around 50%. So not good.
And to be honest with you, his wide receivers are really not getting open that much. It may seem like they are, and he's throwing a lot to them, but he's really not. His tight ends are kind of, where he's continuing to look. I don't know, 84. I can't remember his name. Who's 84 on the second years?
Is that Brait?
He's 85, I thought.
He's 85? Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I have to look it up.
But he's been throwing a lot to 84. Obviously, Gronk. He looks, especially he looks for Gronk near the end zone, of course. And so, he's been throwing a lot to them. But ultimately, the receivers haven't really done a whole lot. And by the way, Antonio Brown is out, if you haven't heard. He's out for Sunday. So that's very helpful in general, especially since King is out. Not that that's a huge deal in my opinion, but obviously that does help.
Brait's 84. I just checked it out for you.
Who's 84?
Yeah, Brait, Cameron Brait, the tight end. So, and just to give you stat line on Brady, 18 to 33 for 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks against the Saints, and 1 missed high five with the official.
Oh, wasn't missed. The official ghosted him, man.
That's good.
Because he knew he'd get in trouble. He's like, I'll get you later. I'll high five you after the game, Tom. Don't you remember the agreement?
Classic.
Well, and since we're on that subject of his stat line with New Orleans, so one of those touchdown passes was 2 yards because, there was an interception and it was basically almost a pick 6. And all they had to do was throw a 2-yard touchdown pass. So
the other one, Fournette almost dropped.
Right. Exactly. So
he's no James White, Bruce. Leonard Fournette is no James White.
He is no James White.
Tom Brady's figured that out.
Yeah.
Remember how James White should have been Super Bowl MVP that one year? Last time Brady won it?
He was phenomenal that year. Yeah.
Former Badger. Continue on. I'm sorry.
No, you are correct. James White is a former Badger, and he's actually probably one of the best Badger running backs in the NFL that has ever played, in my opinion, so far. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, he's been productive and done well.
So let's talk about the 3 scoring drives in the New Orleans game. So we talked about, the 2 yards. The next drive that they had was again a turnover, and they were on New Orleans 20. So they only had to go 20 yards to score that touchdown. And then the other one was also a turnover, and he started on New Orleans 40. Okay. The rest of the time, and by the way, I went back and watched the New Orleans game. The rest of the time, really, Brady did hardly anything, and their running game did hardly anything either, to be honest with you. And granted, they got their 3-4 yards of carry and things like that. I mean, it's not like they did nothing in the run game, but and he was protected at times and things like that. And of course, he made some nice throws, which he will do, but he was terrible against the Saints. They had 4 turnovers, the Saints did. Breeze was horrible. And that is the only reason why Tampa Bay beat the Saints. The only reason was because of 4 turnovers. And because they started on New Orleans side of the field 3 times where they got 21 points. And 2 of those drives, they didn't even have to go basically 20 yards. So my point is, right there, and we're going to get into this in a second, but their offense really hasn't played that well. If you look at the Washington game, which I didn't go back and look, but they really didn't play that well for most of the game then either, and neither did Brady until mainly the last quarter and a half. And I think that was, again, because of those turnovers that happened at near the end of the game and in the second half. I thought Washington's defense was okay, but again, I wasn't impressed with Brady and what he did. So again, Brady's not playing that well. So that is number one. Number two is, let's talk about the Packers in New Orleans. So let's talk about all the areas. First of all, offensively.
Bruce, hang on one second. I got to interrupt. Okay, so what you're trying to say is that in the game all week that was hyped up, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, we had to hear about it. Two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And then going into the game, everybody said, if you're a young quarterback, you got to watch this game. Watch these two masterful quarterbacks at work. Keep that tape. Show your youngsters how to play quarterback. You're trying to tell me that in that game, the best quarterback to throw a pass was Jameis Winston? Is that what you're trying to say?
It's possible. It's possible that one pass was better than any pass in that game.
I'm just kidding. But anyway, if Jameis could have thrown 30 more passes, he would have had like 5 picks. So it's okay. Go ahead.
No. As far as Packers versus New Orleans, first of all, O-line. Let's talk about O-line. The O-line for the Packers is greater than the New Orleans O-line. Does anybody disagree with that?
Yes.
You do.
How many sacks did Tom Brady? How many times did Tom Brady get sacked against New Orleans?
Actually, I don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you.
Jason, can you look it up?
I can tell you this. I can tell you this real quick. Tom Brady. How many? My question to you is, in response to that question, is how many times were his offensive line holding?
Doesn't matter.
And how many times was that Jensen guy taking cheap shots on everybody?
And what happened? What happened to Chase Young? All we heard all week before that game was Chase Young is the terrorizer. Chase Young is gonna terrorize. So and the Redskins crap. The football team has one of the best defensive line, possibly the best defensive line in all football, with all number one picks across the line almost, and they couldn't do jack squat to that offensive line.
Did I say
they could not get in there?
Did I say or did I say New Orleans?
I'm not talking about that. You said who has a better offensive line, the Packers or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
No, I didn't say that. Now, maybe I said Buccaneers. I don't know.
But no, you probably didn't. I probably just heard that.
I meant to say New Orleans. So I'm comparing the Packers compared to the New Orleans team right now.
All right.
And the reason why I want to do that is because of last game and how that went for the New Orleans Saints, and because the 4 turnovers, that's the reason why they lost. So the offensive line is greater for the Packers than the New Orleans Saints offensive line, is what I'm saying. And I don't know how you can't disagree with that.
I don't know, because Drew Brees throws the ball only 5 yards, so they don't have to block for that long.
Which is my next point. Rodgers greater than Brees, without any issues. So again, Brees, you're right. Brees couldn't throw the ball deep. Tampa Bay could just come up and play tight man, and obviously they could keep 2 safeties back. I mean, he couldn't go anywhere. So all he did was throw quick little passes. He missed things over the middle. Obviously he had 11 broken ribs that probably weren't healed. So the point is they could have still beaten Tampa Bay if they wouldn't have had those 4 turnovers. So Rodgers greater than Brees. Kamara and Jonesy, now then you might disagree with this. I'm just going to say they're even. Okay. But Jonesy,
I think they're different.
And they're different. But I'm going to say you look at those two and they're pretty similar, right? They're pretty even, I think, when you look at those two.
Yeah, but Alvin Kamara gets used properly, and Aaron Jones does not.
Yeah, that's probably true. Adams is greater than Thomas.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, especially this year. So
Thomas had 0 catches.
Thomas was kind of a punk in that game. I was really disappointed. I mean, I know that the Tampa Bay defensive backs, this is one thing I said before that concerned me the most watching that game, is they grabbed and held every single play. And multiple guys are grabbing and holding receivers all the time. But Thomas was kind of like a little punk. He didn't really fight through it. He didn't really do anything about it. I'm like, man, come on. You're supposed to be this stud, dynamic, unstoppable wide receiver. Then either complain to the refs about these chumps or freaking do something about it, man. disappointed in that. So I don't think Devontae will suffer that same fate. Devontae, if somebody grabbing his arm and stuff like that, he's gonna let the officials know about it. I'll tell you that.
Well,
he might drop an F on him too.
Let's also be honest. The New Orleans or the Tampa Bay back end. I don't think the Tampa Bay back end is that great.
They're not. They're just good when they can hold everybody like last week. I'm telling you, dude.
I think their corners are okay. I think their safeties are okay, but they're not as good on the back end. So that's kind of the key for us is the back end. And we can talk about that later, but I think that's the other thing is they didn't have to worry because Breeze couldn't go deep anyway. So obviously their linebackers are better than New Orleans linebackers, and they're faster. They're also, if we look at the Rams, I guess, the Rams back end is better than Tampa Bay, but their linebackers are not. And then the defensive line's about the same. So if you look at that, I think Rodgers can go deep as long as we run the ball and run it up the middle and not outside like we did in Game 6. Now, should we maybe go off tackle a little bit? Yeah, probably. But ultimately, we need to jam it down their throats in between the tackles. And we actually ran the ball pretty well. Thanks, Ben.
Stay behind those three guys in the middle. Stay behind those three guys. You'll be all right.
Those are your three best guys.
You
Stick with those three guys.
You go out by the tackles. It's a little sketchy out there, Bruce. I mean, let's be honest about it.
I agree. No, but at the same time,
I heard Jason Wilde saying, writing some article about Billy Turner maybe is the whatever. He shouldn't get any. I don't know. He's the MVP of the game last week, or he's like not getting enough credit. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Billy Turner's got like way too many games that stink to all of a sudden be like credited for one decent game. So anyway, he's got to hold up, but come on, those tackles are serviceable. We'll say that's about it. Continue on.
Well, the other thing, since we're talking about the linebackers, the other interesting thing that I saw in Week 6 is where the fullback was. The side of the fullback was, it seemed like the two linebackers shifted a little bit over to the strong side a lot of the times. So, but we kept running it on that side a lot of the time. So my thought is maybe LaFleur is going to look at that. And he's going to use some misdirection a little bit because, seriously, they move over and they moved over almost a tackle spot or a guard spot when they saw that the strong side was over here. And that fullback was over there. And sometimes the fullback would shift. Rodgers would maybe, call something and they would shift to that side. And all of a sudden, those two linebackers would shift. So it was interesting to see that. So I think maybe some misdirection, a lot of motion, pre-snap motion, things like that will keep those linebackers, at bay and maybe have them a step slower, especially with Jonesy hitting the inside. Or again, cutting out, off tackle. Sometimes he's going to be able to do that based off of, where the guys are and things like that. But I thought that was interesting when I watched the tape and how they move. Now, maybe they're not going to do that this time, but it seemed like they were doing that quite a bit.
Hey, Bruce, let me say one thing that it kind of goes off what you just said. The game that the Week 6 game was when Tyler Ervin got injured. And they kind of took the motion out of the offense. There wasn't as much motion for the Packers offense in that Week 6 game. So Tampa could just sit there and line up and know exactly what was happening. Now, they did move some guys here and there, but it took away the pre-snap, like the play, like they would move a guy to see whether they're in zone or man. But they didn't do it like right before the snap was going on. So that the defense adjusted and then would move out of the way. Like if you watched the Baldy's breakdown thing, where we had Aaron Jones in the backfield, A.J. Dillon, and he moved out, and then a guy moved with him. The other thing you did say is they had like a fullback position in a lot, which I hate it when they do that because what that's doing is you're feeding right into Tampa's best option, which is putting two fast guys in the middle who can go from sideline to sideline. If you have just one back in the backfield, then that kind of spreads out those guys a little bit, and you might take one of the two fast guys out of the play because he's way over here covering a tight end or whatever it is, and the other guy's way over here. But when you put a fullback back there, that makes both of them sit kind of closer to the middle, and they're both very fast, and they can both kind of mess up the play. So sometimes the Packers offensive line would get David, but they would miss White, or the other way around, right? So, and those are things that happened a lot, I think, too, in the game. So I'd like to see more motion, and also more single back sets, or moving the back out, which will then open up a little bit more for the running game that way, and also take away, just make it a little bit easier for Rodgers to see where the blitz is coming. When you have all those guys back there, then they put there's 7-8 guys at the line of scrimmage, and then they can disguise the blitz more because they're all standing there. But when you spread it out a little bit against a blitzing team, you can kind of it takes away guys from that blitzing position to actually, so Rodgers and the offensive line can maybe figure out who's coming and who's not coming. So, okay, back to you.
Yeah, those condensed formations make blitz, it's a shorter route for the route. Sorry, Ben.
What?
For the blitzer to get there, the quarterback, that's the way it goes. Now, people have been very chatty. Can I interrupt and catch up on some chattiness? Or
Bruce, don't forget where you were. I'm sorry.
I'm good. No, yeah, absolutely.
Bruce, you want to finish? Put a cap on this, and then we'll. I asked a question in the chat, and I want to get to some responses. So, Bruce, finish this part.
Finish,
and then we'll
finish
go to that.
point 2. You're still on point 2, I think.
Oh, okay. Basically, the other thing I was going to say is Tunyon is going to have a big role in this game, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is, looking at the New Orleans game, there was receivers open in the middle. I mean, there was, and Breeze just didn't find him. Also, Breeze is, he's shorter. He obviously, his arm is gone. There's a lot of things that come into play there. But the other thing is last game in week 6, we also didn't run the ball as much as we should have. I think what we did was we were thinking, well, Tampa's pass defense isn't as good as their run defense. Obviously, that's still the case, but we didn't run the ball enough to keep them at bay and be able to do that play action to hold those linebackers long enough. As an example, we only rushed 8 times in the first 23 snaps. Now, granted, we scored 10 points and we were up 10-0. But I think what came into play, eventually we were passing the ball a lot. And then Rodgers, obviously, they weren't respecting the run. And then Rodgers was staring at Adams on that one play. And when he threw it, they knew it was coming because we weren't running the ball. We weren't doing any play action. We weren't doing any pre-snap motion, like you said, Ben. So I think that's where that came into play, and that's what I think is going to be different this time. So I'll stop there, and then we'll.
I hope that one quick follow-up on that, the tight end being important in this game. Ben, were you surprised by the Jared Cook fumble?
No, Jared Cook was not good when he was with us, and he was hurt half the time.
Even though he made one of the greatest plays of all time.
He had one play where he jogged across the field, and everybody's like, this guy's just jogging. He's fine. And then Rodgers had a great throw, and Lane Taylor was a security blanket. It was an awesome play. Yes.
Great catch.
But when you watch that replay, because I've seen it a million times, they just have the isolated camera just on Jared Cook. And I swear to God, I could run faster than Jared Cook did on that play. And I am a slow white guy who's 46 years old and overweight, and I could run faster than Jared Cook on that play. Okay, I'm just saying. Now, I will say one thing that Bruce just said about the tight end. He's good. Tight ends could be key, and you would think why? Because usually you would think a safety, and the Tampa Bay safety has been pretty good, right? At least the rookie, and then they got really good inside linebackers who also cover the tight ends, right? But here's the difference: those inside linebackers are aggressive. They attack. That's why they're so good against the run. Play action is going to be super, super important in this game. And Rodgers needs, and I think out of the shotgun play action, so that he can keep his eyes on the inside linebackers. And if they bite on that play action and come inside and you can sneak a tight end right behind them, Rodgers is good enough to throw it right over the top. And that's the kind of stuff that we have to look for. He needs to keep his eyes up on the field. I think sometimes one thing I did notice is because Tampa Bay is so fast, especially in week 6, when we did play action out of when Rodgers was under center, he would come around. There were a couple times he turned around and JPP is like in his face because like nobody blocked him or whatever. Something weird happened, right? Like Tunyon missed the initial block and then snuck out. But by that time, JPP's right there and he's like, and he just kind of threw it and Rodgers got freaked out. So I don't know I think Rodgers it'd be better to handle it if they run more out of the shotgun and he can see exactly what's going on the entire time, and then decide whether to give the ball away or do the RPOs or whatever it is based on seeing everything in front of him. At least against this defense, because they're so aggressive. If you turn your back for 1 second, you come back around, and the whole defense looks totally different because everybody moved and everybody went all over the place. And then he's like, crap, what am I going to do? And it's going to take another second for him to register. I mean, he's super fast and he can get things quick. But if he has his eyes constantly on the backfield or in the defense from the shotgun, he can see everything that's happening as it's happening instead of taking his eyes away and then coming back around again, and then everything's totally different. So back to you.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think that's it. That is a good point about their speed and the aggressive linebackers. And like you noted last week, they didn't hardly do play action in that game. And Rodgers has been lethal on play action all season long. It's worked really, really well. Guy's been open. He's made throws. He's got like 22 touchdowns and no picks off of play action this year. So, and like almost a 150 quarterback rating or something crazy like that. One funny side note I just have to point out before we move on to the chat real quick is, oh my gosh, Troy Aikman, and oh my gosh, just gushing on Tom Brady. He's on fire. He's on fire lately, guys. The last 5 games, he is just on fire. Did you happen to see them talking about that at the beginning of the game? He's on fire. Look at his quarterback rating, 121.7. Do you know what Aaron Rodgers' quarterback rating was for 16 games this year? 121.5.
Oh, that's not as high. That's not as high.
Yeah. I'm just saying, they were just going on and on and on about how great Tom Brady's been in the last 5 games. Shut up.
Let me tell you a secret.
What?
They have to, say nice things about both teams, just so you know. This isn't a Homer Packer freaking broadcast. Okay, get off the Troy Aikman hate.
You're gonna get Aikman this week, and you're gonna see how bad it's gonna be.
Here's another thing.
Oh boy.
We have a text thread that goes through, or a Facebook Messenger thread, whatever it is. I don't want to hear any negative stuff on there. I may shut it off because every time I'm watching, and then I get a sneaking thing from Bruce or from Browner, and my stream is like a second behind, so then I know what's going to happen ahead of time every dang time because it pops up because I have to watch it on my free flowing football because I don't have normal TV. So I'm watching my free flowing football. Boom. Here's the thing. Browner's like, yeah, and then there'll be a defense, and Bruce will be like, yeah, that'll happen to you every time. What the heck are they doing? And then it'll be like a message. It'll be like, yep, 3rd and 4, 9 yards off, genius. And I'm like, dang it, I didn't even get the 3rd down yet. You guys are ruining it for me. So if I turn the thing off, don't think it's because I'm a jerk or I hate you guys. It's just I'm sick of you ruining every dang play for me because it comes up every time because I have to watch it on my phone. So that's a totally different thing. It has nothing to do with the Packers game. Like, sorry, people
that's
watching.
Fine.
But
that's really
so
all
Bruce,
about
don't think I'm
okay.
a jerk. Browner, don't think I'm a jerk. Keep doing what you're doing because I'll say this much. Last year when Jason and I did this show, it was just me and him yapping. We were doing it on the phone. We didn't have any video. We didn't have any of that kind of stuff.
Probably better for most people, but
probably better. But the thing that's nice about this year is we kind of built this little community of guys, former friends from college and high school and wherever. And then also we got people we don't even never knew before that have come in and joined in and texted and give us messages and been really positive. And it's really cool to have all these new fans of people that are as passionate and as crazy and see all the same stuff we do and sometimes different, make you think about stuff and all that kind of thing. And it's been awesome. So I really don't want this to end after Sunday. I'll tell you that. All right, got to go one more game.
Not going to.
But if it does, I would say it's been a super cool year for all the guys that have texted in and even like the game day stuff with Bruce. Like every 2 seconds, Bruce puts them in there. And as much as it pisses me off because it's 2 seconds before I see the damn play, it's still cool that he's in there.
I'll try to stop doing that.
No, it's good. It's good. What I'm saying is I may shut the warnings off and then maybe just check them at halftime or something because I don't think I can handle it this week. Yeah, but anyway, back to you. All right,
one thing I want to
for a while. I talked too much. Here we go.
One thing I want to do this week is just really enjoy the game. So I'm not going to analyze every single play as I'm watching the game, which I oftentimes do, and then critique. And when guys do something dumb, make a big thing about it. No, I'm going to understand. Like all of us as Packers fans should understand. There are going to be some highs and lows in this game. There are going to be some peaks and valleys. There's going to be good stuff, and there's going to be some nonsense. And some of that might come because of the stripes. So be ready for it. But understand that this Packers team has what it takes to get it done. I really, truly believe that. And I'm a believer. I believed in other years too, but there's just a little something different this year. And on top of everything, I think it has a lot to do with the coach, the direction, and the guys they've kind of built together. Like you look at the leaders on the team, okay, and then you look at the offensive line on this team and the core guys there, and I just think there's too much there to let this fall apart. And I don't care that it's Tom Brady and all these other guys that just came to Tampa to win a Super Bowl from, all these jerky guys that were problems on all the teams they've been on, and everybody got rid of them eventually. And Brady's like, hey, just come with me and we'll create Patriots South and we'll try to win a Super Bowl again because, I got this advantage and that advantage and we'll just, whatever. I don't care. I don't care. This is the Packers' year to do it, and they're going to do it. So I asked this question in the chat, and I'm going to get to some comments real quick, and then we'll go back to Bruce. I said, are you concerned about this game? And I'm not. I'm really not. The only thing that concerns me is the officials at this point. But the game, the players, the team, I'm not concerned about it. Eckett says, of course. Let's get into it a little bit. Rick thinks this would be a bigger challenge. These are comments from a while ago, so sorry we didn't get to them sooner, guys. But he likes the way the Packers are playing, plus they have home field advantage. In addition, Browners, let's see. Eckes says his perspective is the refs worry him. That's my only concern, too. He thinks that week 6, 0 penalties against the Buccaneers is ridiculous. I agree. I'm like, how did that team play the whole game, got 0 penalties? Come on. The other thing I just don't like is the dirty. It feels like Tampa Bay is kind of a dirty team. They just are. They're going to push the rules as much as they can and go beyond them sometimes. And if it doesn't get caught, they're going to get away with it. But I think that stuff a lot of times happens in the trenches and also happens with the wide receivers against the running backs. Allen Lazard's tough enough to deal with it. Devontae's shifty enough to deal with it. Tunyon's a bad mother, too. And I love Patrick, Lindsley, Jenkins. They can all handle it. So they know they're in for a fight. They'll handle the business. John is figuring he loved that Pettin made the defensive guys watch the game. Rick says refs will almost certainly be a factor, but unfortunately, you got to overcome. I still think this team can do it.
That's because Rick's a Raiders fan. He always thinks that.
He's seen a bunch of it. Come on. This Raiders should have went to the Super Bowl, and then there was the Tuck Rule game. Come on. Chucky Woodson should have won a Super Bowl that year before he was a Packer. Some BS, man. Lee, however, is not concerned. Says the team is pretty special right now, except the actual special teams are the only thing that aren't special. But did you guys have it as a side note? Did anybody happen to hear Aaron Rodgers recounting the J.K. Scott's decision to to throw the ball to Mason Crosby? Did everybody hear that? What happened? What he said? All right. So everybody's like, J.K. Scott got a bad snap, tried to get it down. Mason couldn't kick it. They start to do something with it. He flips it to Mason, and then he ran out. And first of all, everybody's like, why the hell did you flip it to Mason? He's old. And if he gets hurt, like, who the hell is going to kick? Who's going to kick? Not you, J.K. Scott. You shouldn't be kicking field goals. Anyway, so Aaron Rodgers was talking about it, how he's like, yeah, I was kind of mad at him at first. And then Mason's shoulder got messed up. Well, good thing it wasn't his leg. It was his shoulder. Either way, he's a little banged up with his shoulder. But J.K. Scott said, yeah, I was thinking, he was reacting on the fly. And he's like, I was thinking a little give and go here. I give it to Mason, and then I leaked out in the back, and I was going to get it back from him and then score the 2-point or whatever. And then Rodgers said, oh, with that mindset, in the moment, and then I was okay with it, whatever. But that's what J.K. Scott was thinking, trying to make something out of nothing on that play. But how about next time you just lay on the ball, call it good. Let's not hurt our kicker, okay? Come on, J.K. Come on, man. It was good stuff anyway. Okay, John is feeling really good. He likes the inside matchups between the Bucks offensive lineman and the Buccaneers Succaneers offensive lineman. He says the only ones that are good are Wirfs, Jensen, and Marpet. I'm sorry. But we have Lindsley Jenkins and Patrick.
What? They got Fozzie Bear on the line? Bear's on their line?
Fozzie Bear. And Animal. Jensen guy in the middle. He's like created by Tom Brady. Remember how Eckes created Lauterbach? Tom Brady created that Jensen guy. And now he has been empowered to be the cheapest, dirtiest center in the whole league. And on the other side, we have the nicest nice guy center in the whole league. But our center's still better. So shut up, Buccaneers fans. All right. People are liking the way Gary's playing. John points it out. Gary's been unbelievable. He's taken a huge leap. Great surprise. Last year we were on him. Really disappointed in that pick. And he is by far now probably their most consistent and best guy from the outside linebacker group and kind of maybe even on that whole front. He's really, really good. Lots of other stuff. Browner's with me. He says, yes, Jace, we're going to do this. Go Pack Go. And I believe it too. All right. I think that's most of what we got. No Austin on special teams. I said it before. Give me Malik Taylor. Just put Malik Taylor returning punts. He'll catch it. He won't go very far, but he'll catch it and not fumble. And that's the other key thing, Ben. I know that made you worried last week when Dylan fumbled. Dylan's supposed to be back for this game, but I'm almost like, it's just one stupid thing like that, right? Could change the game. Could be the difference. So I want to see Dylan as like the third wheel for sure in this game. Jamal Williams, he secures the ball and he runs tough. He's good enough for me. Him and Jones in this game are good enough for me. Dylan as a compliment once in a while, that's fine. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, John points out that Jensen has been dirty for a long time. Okay. Clearly.
Okay, stop talking. You're rambling on too much. You're drunk. Bruce, take it over. Point number
I just had to catch up with all this.
You're blabbing, and you're getting boring. Bruce, go.
I think you had some good points, Jason. Just like.
Wow, they mostly were other people's points. Bruce, take it away.
Okay. Actually, the points in the chat relate to some of the stuff I was going to talk about now, so that's good. So going back, I'm just going to go down the line on the first Tampa game and what was different then compared to now. So first of all, Clark was just coming off a groin injury in Game 6, or Week 6, I should say, which he's healthy now and he's playing well. Okay. Gary only had 17 snaps in Week 6. He's going to have way more than that now. Okay. And he's our best pass rusher, and he's been amazing on pressure and all that type of stuff. And he does a good job of setting the edge and against the run. So that's number 2. We did rush Z Smith inside, like Ben had mentioned earlier. And when we did that, he got pressure up the middle a lot of the times. I think we're going to do that again. I would not be surprised. And we should do that again. So Gary and Preston on the outside, they can set the edge better anyway. And then Z Smith on the inside. And like you said, with Kiki out, it's Clark and hopefully Snacks and, obviously Lowry in there as well. But the other thing is Montravius Adams was playing as well back then, remember. Now he had a couple good plays, but he got crushed a couple times too. So I think we're better off because of that reason as well. We mentioned the 8 rushes.
Well, that's a name I haven't heard.
What's that?
That was my Star Wars reference.
Oh.
I forgot Montravius Adams was on the team.
Yeah.
All right, back to you.
Yeah, he was. That's right. 8 rushes and 23 snaps. We mentioned that already, but again, I think we're going to run the ball a lot more this game than we did last game. Even if we don't get a ton of yardage right away, I think LaFleur sticks with the run, and I think Aaron Rodgers will stick with the run like he did against the Rams. Okay. Lazard did not play in Week 6. You know who we had? We had Darius Shepard and Malik Taylor.
Ooh.
So let's think about that. I mean, you wonder why, and I'm not giving Rodgers an excuse by any means, but you wonder why he was looking at Adams more in that game. Now, granted, he does that anyway, but because I will say that Malik Taylor was wide open across the middle when he did throw to Adams and was picked off. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
And Tunyon had 3 touchdowns the week before. And so don't tell me he had no options.
You are correct.
Just heads up.
Correct. But I think Lazard is somebody that he trusts more. He's a good possession receiver. Obviously, he trusts more to MBS, and MBS is playing better. Also, Lazard is a better run blocker than either of those guys. So again, there's another reason. Bach got injured in the third quarter, and Wagner went to left tackle. Holy cow, was that a disaster! So again, I think O-line wise, a lot more solidified. And the other thing is, I think the O-line is pissed off that they got embarrassed a little bit in the week 6. And I think they're going to be ready to go. They're going to be physical, and they're going to take that D-line to town. I really believe that they're going to be ready, and they're going to be focused. We talked about that. And
I also one quick point about that, because they're going to be facing some guys like Dominican Sue, one of the cheapest dudes ever played football in the last 20 years. Likes to do all kinds of cheap crap, ran his mouth off. And they got Vita Vea coming back, although maybe he won't play too many snaps. But, come on. It's like, however, I'm not worried about that because Jenke showed some toughness against Donald and restraint as well. I love the fact that he restrained himself and just let Donald get the big penalty on him. And Lukey Patrick ain't backing down from anybody. He doesn't care. He went to Duke to play football. Nobody chooses to go to Duke to play football. Then he was undrafted, kicked around, grew a mustache, talked to Aaron Rodgers, and then he's back in the Packers' good graces, and he's a starting offensive guard and the man and my favorite Packer. I'm going to buy his jersey, damn it, if they go to the Super Bowl.
You know what he needs to do? He needs to untie Ndamukong Suh's shoes in between the plays. Because I don't remember who did that, but I remember hearing about it. One of the Packers guards way back in the early 2012 or 13 or something like that was told by, I think it was James Campen, when James Campen was the O-line's coach. That was one of the tactics he used to do back when he played. He was like, yeah, just untie his shoes. A couple, when you get the play's almost done or whatever, and you're in the scrum, untie his shoes. And I can't remember who it was that did it, but it was the guy who Sue got super mad at, like punched him or kicked him or did something to him. I can't remember what his name. Anybody remember his name was in the chat? Let me know.
Was that Evan Dietrich Smith?
Yes, Evan Dietrich Smith. He untied Ndamukong Suh's shoes like 3 or 4 times during one of the Lions-Packer games, and it just took Sue out of the game because he was so mad about the fact that he had to keep tying his shoes all the time, and he just kept doing it. He started going. He got a couple of penalties on him because he was, hitting Smith after the play and all that kind of stuff. It was genius, and that's the kind of stuff they got to do here. Just do. I mean, and that's cheating, but not really cheating. It's not like breaking the rules. It's just making guys a little mad. I want to see Lukey Patrick. I don't know if he's that kind of guy though, and I don't think Jenkins is. I don't think Lindsley is. That's the thing is I don't know if any of those guys. I think Bakhtiari he would do it, but we need somebody who can just untie Ndamukong Suh's shoe ties a couple times in the snow, and then he's got to keep tying them again with his cold hands. He probably couldn't even do it. Just keep doing that. It's genius. Okay, back. It's a great story. I remember that story.
Sweep, baby, sweep the leg.
That's a good story.
That's fun. I didn't know that. That's really super fun. The last thing I was going to say is Oren Burks played a lot. Can you believe that? Yeah, he played outside linebacker and some inside linebacker. And I mean, come on, Oren Burks? No. I'm telling you, there was a lot of things that were different back in week 6. A lot of things. Did you count 8 things? Is that why you're doing this?
No, I want 44. 44. 44. Right. 44.
Actually, he did play in week 6. He actually played pretty good.
He always plays pretty good. God dang it. Just play that guy. Pisses me off.
That was his string of games because he played New Orleans and Atlanta. And Tampa Bay was where he got his numbers taken away a little bit. Mm-hmm. But when he played against Tampa Bay and Atlanta, he was making plays. He missed a couple tackles here and there. But, I mean, he made more plays than he missed, unlike a lot of the linebackers the Packers are playing now. So, I don't know. Whatever. That's why I'm part of me wants to see a defense. Like I said, I want to see, maybe one linebacker, and bring in, if Tremont can play, put him in there. Especially if we get a lead, I want to see Tremont. I want to see 6 D-backs in the game when we have the lead. Let them run. Let them waste the clock. If we have a lead, that's fine.
You already have me envisioning it. You have me envisioning the dream scenario.
Tremont gets the pick.
Tremont gets a pick to win the game off of the greatest quarterback of all time. Blah
Yes.
blah 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 blah.
The oldest cornerback picks off the oldest quarterback. It's a genius, awesome storyline of awesomeness. Yes.
I would cry. I would cry out of joy if that happened.
I would cry just like it was Terry Mickens catching a touchdown.
Oh my God.
Okay, back to you.
Now I can't wait for Sunday. God. Go ahead, Bruce.
Hey, I will say we did play some single linebacker in week 6 too. And I thought the defense actually played pretty well that game. They really did. It's just, they gave up 24 points, literally, because the other 14, pretty much were given to them, right? And they actually played pretty well, except for a couple of plays. So if the defense can play very similar to that, maybe even a little better, and I think they're playing better than they were then, I think we'll be fine. The last thing I'm going to mention is that was Aaron Rodgers' worst game of the year, by far. And I will tell you, it's not just the 2 picks. He missed some throws that could have been touchdowns or at least huge plays. And I don't know what it was, if he was rattled because he hated that he threw 2 picks or what the heck was going on. But, man, that was the worst game of the year by far. And I just don't see him playing that way in the NFC title game when this is one of his last shots. He's razor focused. He has been all year, except for that one game. I just don't see that happening again. And the last thing I'm going to say is we win if we don't turn the ball over and we play the way we have been playing. We keep our identity on offense and defense, and we don't turn the ball over, and we win, period. Because the only reason Tampa Bay has beat Washington and beat New Orleans in the playoffs, because, again, Brady hasn't played that well, is because of turnovers, period. That is why they have won. We don't turn the ball over, we're going to the Super Bowl, period.
I like that, Bruce. I'm going to share this now because what you said was true, but also an extreme understatement. So this is Aaron Rodgers' season, all right? 121.5 quarterback rating for the whole season. These are his quarterback ratings. 127.5, 107.6, 124.9. Look at this. 35.4, yes. I mean, that's by far. Every other game. There's only one game other than that that's below 108 quarterback rating. That's bonkers. That's insane.
That game was against a team with fast inside linebackers and aggressive corners. So that's why it's a little scary, okay? Because Tampa Bay's got fast inside linebackers and aggressive corners. Now, they can be taken advantage of. They can be had, yes. But Rodgers has shown, also against Indianapolis in the second half, fast inside linebackers, and they had only a so-so secondary. And they still couldn't move the ball. So that's what scares me, okay? Rodgers seems to not – in that game you're talking about, Bruce, if you go back and watch the show that I did after that, I showed all the plays that were problems and how he wasn't pulling the trigger when he should have been. And then also the other thing that didn't help much was when they were down, they kept doing these like 15-yard routes and 20-yard routes, even though their offensive line couldn't block them. Like if you can't hold the block for more than a second and a half, why are you having routes that take more than 2 seconds to develop for everybody? And there was no combination routes. It was all just one-on-one crap instead of like design plays. This is a huge game. There's going to be at least, I would say, 3 to 4 designed plays against this Tampa Bay defense, Packers offense, that are designed to score touchdowns. Like big play, score a touchdown, it's got to work type plays. And that's what we got to have. Like remember when they played Seahawks in the playoffs and they had a couple of awesome, like the Devontae double move back to the outside. That was killer. And then when they had the cool, like him and Allison looked like they were going to do a crossing route, but then they came back out again. Genius, awesome plays. They're going to see more kind of stuff like that. There's going to be a couple in this game, and Rodgers has to hit them. Rodgers has to be perfect. Not perfect, but at least on these plays, like they're going to be 3 or 4 plays that are designed to work. And not only does he have to be a perfect throw, whoever it's going to is better catch it. We can't have MVS Lazard dropping balls when they're wide open. This is the NFC Championship game. We can't afford for these guys to have mental errors. And if they do, then Gutekunst is at fault. As much as I love Lazard, he can't drop a pass. He can't. He's got to catch him. He's got to be Mr. Reliable. And MVS, they're going to let him go because they know, hey, half the time he drops it. There'll be a couple plays in this game, too, where he's going to be deep and Rodgers will just, and he's got to catch the freaking ball, period. All right, I'm done with that.
No, it's true.
I agree with you. Double moves, no doubt. I think we're going to do it more than we have in the past with those, and we're going to try to get them to back off, and then we're going to be able to throw underneath. And crossing routes were open huge in week 6. I mean, that should be happening all day long, especially if we're doing pre-snap motion and stuff like that. We should be able to scheme our guys open over the middle all day long if we're doing it the right way. I truly believe that after watching that game in week 6.
Our concern about the Zebras and about the defensive backs of the Buccaneers holding on every play last week. The main way to combat that is to run the ball too. We were just talking about passing stuff and passing keys, but if the Packers balance, run the ball effectively, and maybe even run it a little more, if they're going to be holding guys and getting away with that crap, then just run the ball at them. Fine. You want to grab and hold our guys? Okay, we're just going to run down your throat. So I believe in the interior guys. I believe the line's good enough, and the receivers help block well enough that I think they can do it. And Jones is so talented. Hey, did anybody, as a side note, did anybody check out the mic'd up from the championship weekend? Anybody else see that?
Yep.
The first 8 minutes, the first little bit is Brady and Breeze blah, 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 for like 45 seconds. Then it shifts to the Packers game. And it's pretty good because you get to hear Jalen Ramsey talk all this trash to Devontae Adams and then, not really do jack squat in the game pretty much. So, but he was sure talking a lot of trash to Devontae Adams.
Well, and he was saying, you come by me kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, and the safety for them, 43, he was like talking a lot and then getting schooled a lot. It was pretty good. And Matt LaFleur was mic'd up. And there's like one play on the sideline of Matt LaFleur's. He almost sounded a little surprised. He's like, oh, well, we're running it well and we're throwing it well. Okay. Yeah. We'll just do whatever the hell we want. So I hope we hear a lot of that again this week from Matt LaFleur. Running it well.
The other thing was right before with Aaron Jones' big touchdown run.
Yeah.
They come out and he's like, where's 99? He's like, 99's not out there? 99's not out there? It's like, all right. And then boom, Aaron Jones, 60 yards. Because Aaron Donald wasn't even on the field the first play of the second half. Why? We don't know. We don't care. We won, right? Who cares? But when it comes to this game,
LaFleur commented on that too about how amazing of a run that was too. He understands how special Jones is, Ben.
Who does?
LaFleur.
LaFleur?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of want to get in. I don't want to get into that right now.
He understands.
Bruce. Here's the thing that makes me mad because I don't know why the Packers would leak this information before the NFC Championship game and cause all these problems. Whether maybe it was leaked prior to this, I don't know. The fact that Aaron Jones got offered a contract, which would have made him a top 5 paid running back, but the guarantees were stinkier than crap, and he didn't take the offer, which I think they did that to trying to make Aaron Jones look bad, make them look good, like, oh, we tried, but he didn't want it, kind of thing. And why you would write that story right before the championship game or let that leak before is kind of stupid, or before the playoffs, dumb. But also, if there's any fans out there who are turning on Aaron Jones because of this, you can kiss my ass. Kiss it. Because I'll tell you right now, David Bakhtiari had to be the highest paid offensive lineman, and he got that now, didn't he? And is he the best? Kenny Clark had to be the highest paid interior defensive lineman, and is he the best? Hell no. Not even close.
No.
And not only that, that was Dave Bakhtiari's second contract. And Kenny Clark maybe now won't get another contract, but there's a chance. Interior defensive linemen could play a little longer. Running backs, if they have a chance to get money, they have one shot at it. One shot. And not only that, Aaron Jones deserves guaranteed money for all the things he's done over the last 2 years, and he's playing off a 5th-round draft pick's salary. He deserves whatever guarantees he can get. And if people are saying crap about Aaron Jones for holding up for more guarantees, you can kiss it. He deserves it. He deserves it for what he's done the last 2 years, and he deserves it for what he's going to do in the future. And it almost makes me want him to go somewhere else even more now, which makes me even more sad. But still, when they give Bakhtiari what he wants, they give Kenny Clark what he wants, but they won't give Aaron Jones what he wants? That's interesting to me. That means they can give guys who they want to give what they want to, but if there's a guy who they don't want to give the money to, they'll find a way to make it look bad so that he won't take the crap because they don't want him to be on the team. That's what it means to me. That's what I'm seeing. So I'm going to let this go, and I'm going to let this ride because the only other thing I have to say is this. Alan Lazard, Robert Tonyan, Corey Linsley, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, Tyler Lancaster, Shannon Sullivan. Who else? Tramon Williams now. Tramon Williams. Kevin King. All gone, possibly. And that's a lot. There's probably even more. Lane Taylor, who I know got hurt, but he's not under contract for next year. All these guys who are key players, key to this team's success, and above all, awesome dudes. Except for maybe Kevin King. Well, he's probably an awesome dude, but he's not worth the money to pay him back. But anyways, what I'm saying is this. Next year's team, not going to be anywhere near as good as this year's team. No matter, because there's no way they have enough money to sign all these guys back. So let's enjoy this game, guys. Whoever's watching at home, don't let the stuff bug you that usually lets you bug you, and just let it go. Like just believe in the pack. Believe in what's going to happen. Feel the power. Believe in these awesome dudes, and don't worry about what's going to happen next year because this team is the team of destiny. We need them to do it. Back to you.
By the way, when he said let it go, I thought he was going to say let the GOAT take over the game. That's what I thought he was going to say about Aaron Rodgers. Oh, okay.
I thought he was going to start busting into a song and singing Elsa style, but he didn't. But it is the same. Yes, that's what we have to do, guys, because it's really messed up. The business of the NFL is the business, and next year's team is going to be way different, and there's no guarantee what it's going to look like. Plus, you're going to be playing a harder schedule, all this sort of stuff. So this is the year to do it.
Oh, Mercedes Lewis. He's another guy who's not under contract next year.
Mm-hmm.
And just picture that, right? Tremon's back. Tremon's back just in time. Could Tremon win a Super Bowl and then retire? Could Lewis finally win a Super Bowl and then probably hang him up?
Aaron Rodgers win a second one and retire.
I don't think he'll retire quite yet.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
He
might. When he looks at the team he's going to have around him next year, he might look at that team and go, "Yeah, I'm out of here."
He could have a late surge in his career and pick up some Super Bowls late, and then all of a sudden, everybody's like, "Well, he's got the Super Bowls now, so now we can say he's great, one of the greatest again," and blah blah blah. But I'm just thinking about those guys who it's most likely their last shot. But it could be Rodgers' last shot too, because who knows what the hell is going to happen after this. So these guys all understand that. They got to do it. They got to get it done. So, Bruce, you got anything else?
Wait, before he does this thing, I know he wants to do something. Just hold on.
Oh, okay,
I got one more thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I know what you want to say or what you're going to do. But here.
You guys take over for a minute. I got to get something I forgot the last 2 weeks. I'll be right back.
Okay. The thing I was going to say is this. And it goes along with the fact that a lot of these guys are going to be gone next year. We need, for this game, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Corey Linsley, Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Adrian Amos, Billy Turner. All of those guys are our highest paid guys. This is the most important game in almost every one of their careers. They need to play like they're getting paid. If you're getting paid to be a top dog, you need to play like a top dog. And I want to see Zadarius play with his hair on fire. I want to see Preston Smith, if he can't get to Brady, get his hands up in the air and knock some passes down because he's good at that. I want to see Amos cover the middle of the field and break some plays up, maybe get a pick or two. Lindsley and Billy Turner need to hold down the fort and do what they're paid to do. Because Lindsay makes $10 million a year. I don't know if anybody knows that. He's a high paid center that's pretty high for center. And of course, Rodgers needs to be Rodgers. And Devontae better not be dropping any balls or getting held. If he's getting held, run through it. You got to run through it. And Rodgers needs to be accurate and throw the ball when the guys are open. He talked about it this week, about getting the ball out in rhythm more this year than ever before. He even talked about it. So, if he's talking about it, he knows it's happening and he understands what's going on. And I think he's done much better at that over the last 5 games or so than he had earlier in the season. So if he keeps doing that, reading the defense, getting the ball to the open guy, finding the things that are going on, and Zadarius Smith needs to play like the highest paid player on the defense. He needs to not be blocked by a wide receiver on 3rd down. He needs to not get freaking stiff arm to the face by a freaking 190-pound running back, okay? He needs to run through blocks. He needs to attack dudes. Oh, a butt face. We don't want to see that. Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Where'd that come from?
You better tell the story. You tell where it came from, and I'll tell the story of how it happened.
I can show you who it came from. This guy, right down, Ben. Whoever he is on your screen. Ben. Another great uncle gift to my kid right here. And I've been meaning to have it. So not only do we have the fart gun on Tuesdays, but we have the farty butt-faced ninja on Fridays. Let's see. Oh, never mind.
You broke it. Push down. It's pull my finger.
Oh, it's delayed. Yeah. Okay.
There's more. He does
a whole bunch of stuff. And also, the weird part about these.
Where's the robot? Or the robot?
Robot is somewhere else. I couldn't find it. It's like in Square. The point is, these things actually came with trading cards as well. And the trading cards was scratch and sniff. The last time I had a scratch and sniff thing was probably like 30 years ago that I remember. Except these were super gross scratch and sniff because you scratched it and it smelled disgusting. It smelled like fart. And
hey, it wasn't for you. It's for your son.
I'm stupid enough to my son was like, hey, Dad, look at this. Here, scratch it and smell it. And I did it. And it smelled terrible. And I was sorry that I did it.
Oh, God.
It's all because of you.
When I saw those, I was like, these are the greatest gifts I could ever give my nephew.
That's awesome.
Listen, when you call me Uncle Booty for a couple years, I'm giving you booty gifts. And that's just what happens.
All right, everybody wants to do score predictions now. Sorry, I must have prompted the end of the show with the butt face.
Yeah, we'll do score predictions, and then Bruce is going to close it out.
Okay, score predictions. Here they all come. Andy Brown, who's still hung in there. 31-21, Green Bay. Go, Pack, go. Jason Eckes says 27-20. Pack. Go, Pack, go. I'm assuming Browners is, of course. Oh, yeah, he's got GP on there. And Rick thinks it's going to be a tight one, but he thinks Brady and the Zebras will go down by 3, 27-24.
Wow.
I don't like giving score predictions, but I will this time again. And I'm going to say Packers 30 and the Yuccaneers 20. John O'Malley says 31-22 Green Bay. And Eka says just a coincidence he might have 27 beers to go on with the Packers 27 points.
Whoa.
All right, you guys, what score do you think? What score do you have?
Do you want me to go first or you, Ben?
I don't even know yet.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bruce.
I said 41-17 on Tuesday.
That was a big one.
Packers. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I'm going to say 38-20 Packers.
Wow. Confident. Good.
I'm going to say 33 for Aaron Jones to 12 for Tom Brady.
Whoa.
33-12. I don't even believe that at all, but I'm saying it. There you go.
All right, Bruce, you got something to close us out?
Well, I do. It's a little special. Some people may have heard of the Packers Lord's Prayer, but I'd like us to bow our heads to end the show tonight.
Mom and Dad will like that.
While I recite the Packers prayer here. So, our Rogers, who art in Lambeau, hallowed be thine arm. Thy bowl will come, it will be won, in Tampa as it is in Lambeau. And give us this Sunday our weekly win, and give us many touchdown passes. But do not let others pass against us. Lead us not into frustration, but deliver us to the valley of the sun. For thine is the MVP, the best of the NFC, and the glory of the Cheeseheads, now and forever. Go get 'em. Amen.
Amen. Let's enjoy this game, everybody. Let's just try to tune out all the bad things and revel in the fact that the Pack got a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Bruce is fired up, praying, we're getting excited, we're winning it all. But first, we got to win this game.
And we will.
I'm going to do my best to just enjoy the game. Hopefully all you do too. I'll tell you that. One other cool thing before we go, the NFL announced today, it's NFL news, should have been earlier on. There's going to be 22,000 people at the Super Bowl this year. 7,500 of the tickets are reserved for healthcare workers in the area near Tampa. And they're giving them those tickets for free. So that was pretty good. And on top of it, Roger Goodell announced it's an opportunity for the NFL to showcase and show things right by showing proper distancing with people, with the groups they're going to have there. Also promote mask wearing, because we still got to do that. And we're turning the corner on this thing. And we got a plan finally from the federal level. So hang in there, everybody. But this is one thing I will say the NFL's also got right. They got it right on the social justice this year, and they're getting it right on this too, setting a good example, So appreciate the NFL for doing that stuff right. And we'll enjoy it even more if the Packers are playing in that game, which I believe they will. So congrats to all of you for having positive score predictions. Congrats to Bruce for having good info and stats and a solid score prediction. Very confident.
Great prayer. One. Great prayer, Bruce.
Great prayer. Very good. Very good. And Ben had to go off a little bit about Aaron Jones, but still it's warranted. So that's fine. That's fine. And Aaron Jones, light him up. Light him up. I would be overjoyed if Aaron Rodgers has 100-yard passing and Aaron Jones lights him up and scores like 5 touchdowns. Great. Great. Do it. Light him up 33 and light him up Packers. All right. Brady needs to go down along with all those other jerks in that team, including Bruce Arians. I hope he gets really cold. And I hope he makes bad choices and bad challenges. Yeah. A couple bad challenges would be good. Matt LaFleur is awesome. So are the Packers. Everybody have a good week.